Welcome back to the channel. I just finished editing the video that went up Saturday morning, and while that was rendering and uploading, I sanded the tops of, or I guess the fronts of all of the trim for the bedroom, and then I started working on this curved part. I got 2 pieces done. I'm getting a call. Catch up with you guys in a second. Well, that was exciting, but anyways, so I sanded the edges of these 2, still have to do it on this one, and then from there I'm gonna take the air compressor, spray off all the dust, wipe them down, and then we will paint them white before we install them in the bedroom. Got the first coat of white paint on the main pieces of trim. Again, there's some smaller pieces that I haven't sanded yet, and I have not cut that one, so I want to get these up first, make sure this whole process is going to work, and then we will cut and do all of that. So for now, I think while that's drying before I can do a second coat, I'm going to work on the outlets. I just have 3 outlets in here, so I'm going to switch those to newer style plugs and then get the face plates put back on them, and after that I will be able to put a second coat of paint on those pieces of trim. All the outlets are in. I still have to pick up the trash. I got the wall plates for the closet light switch and for our main light switch put in. This one, I still have to redo this drywall around here. As you can see, the old box that was in here would not fit this smart switch, so I had to remove it, put a bigger box in, but when I did that I damaged the wall. So I'm gonna have to fix that eventually. It's not gonna happen this weekend, but I also want to move this to a normal height. I mean, you can see it's like at my shoulder or above, so it's like so high. I mean, all the light switches in this house are at about 5 foot when normal is 4 foot, so it should be down in here. So I will move this and then I'll patch that hole, and yeah, stuff to do, a lot of little things, all the time adds up, but putting the switches in was pretty quick. And right now I'm gonna go put a second coat on that trim so we can get that up, and I think that'll really make this room stand out with this floor and the gray walls. Second coat is finished and they look significantly better than the first. I was originally planning to just nail them on the wall after the second coat and then touch up the spots, but now I decided to do a third coat because they still need it. They still need more paint. And so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna let these dry, and then I'm gonna go through with the paintable caulk and fill these old nail holes. And then I'll let that dry, and then I will paint a third coat. Hopefully a final coat before I can hang them on the wall. If it needs a fourth, I'm gonna do it here because it's so much easier to paint here than with them nailed on the wall, and I have to be careful about the floor and the wall. So I'm gonna get everything done here that I can, and then I'll nail them up there. And I will still have to touch up the new nail holes, but that won't be nearly as bad as filling all of these and doing a whole nother coat. I thought I was bad at making the right cut on the first try, but every single one of these is split in at least 2 pieces. This side's got 2, this back side has 3, this side has 2. What in the world? I mean, the only thing I can think of is that they had a bunch of scraps and they didn't want to buy more, which is probably what happened, but goodness, that is crazy. They could have at least glued them together. I learned my lesson. I absolutely should have removed this trim before we did the floors, because these things are coated in the stain and the poly, and it's not drying because the paint, so it can't absorb. So that's gonna be so not fun to get off. And then also, just, I have to figure out how all these pieces went in here to begin with. So anyways, I'm gonna have to clean up the floor and clean up the edge. The sheetrock's kind of destroyed down there, but I really don't care, so it's fine. Katie is cleaning the windows and cleaning all of the room, and it is filthy.
That's disgusting.
So we're trying to get it all clean before we bring our stuff in here, because that'll just make our lives easier than to not have to clean around a bed and a dresser and all the stuff in the closet. So I'm gonna take this, get it cleaned up, get it painted, and man, I really don't want to, but what a nightmare. I got all these pieces out, and then I decided, instead of going through and trying to clean all the stain off and then sand them down and then paint them again, I'm just gonna buy new trim, because it already doesn't match the trim that's gonna be in the bedroom, so that didn't matter. And when I build the shelves in the closet, I would have to cut this stuff anyways, and it's just gonna be a hassle with all of those pieces, and then to spend all that time cleaning and whatnot. Trim is like $1 a foot, and this is like 8 foot, so it's really not that expensive. I'm just gonna go buy some new trim and do it that way. So I think for now I'm gonna get ready to go to Home Depot and buy the shelves and the pole, the closet pole, and get stuff to make the shelves, and then get some trim, and we will work on that as our next project. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and caulk those holes in the trim and then paint it again so that it can be drying while we're there. We forgot you guys here at the house, and we went to Home Depot. We got a bunch of wood to build the shelves for the closet and the closet poles and all the stuff we need to do the closet. We came home real quick. Katie is putting the 3rd coat on the trim, and then we have to run to Walmart, pick up a few things, and by the time we're back, this stuff should be pretty dry, so we can install it in the bedroom, and then we will get to work on the closet. So I'm really hoping to have the closet finished today and ready to go. Hopefully we can have it painted even, and we may not have a finished coat of paint on it, but at least 1 coat of paint on the closet with everything built and ready to go. So think we can do it, Katie?
Yeah.
We have trim installed.
Yay!
There it is. We got the 3 pieces around the outside done. So this is what the whole room will look like. Again, haven't cut this piece or the little pieces to go in there, but we think it looks so good. And I'm glad we were able to reuse this trim because it was already cut and it was in great shape. So yeah, we got to reuse it. I bought a stud finder at Home Depot to find the studs so I could nail on it, but it literally could not find 1 stud in this whole house. So I'm gonna return it and get a different one, and hopefully that one's able to find some studs. But the one that couldn't was a Ryobi, and it was supposed to scan the whole stud. So don't buy the Ryobi whole stud detector because it was terrible. But we do have to paint, you know, just to fill in the nail holes. But I'm not gonna do that until I get a stud finder and put nails on the studs. So that makes sense. But anyways, it's good. Got to cut a couple more pieces, but first we're gonna get to the closet so that we can get that knocked out today. Well, I finished cutting all the boards for the closet and I finished assembling it, and this is how it turned out. So we got 2 poles here. One will be Katie's, one will be mine. Probably the tall one's mine because it is pretty high, as you can see. And then this one is for dresses. It's a full length. And then I've got my safe in there, and then we've got these cubbies that are 1 foot by 1 foot. So maybe we can build some boxes, or I don't know what we'll do with those exactly. But we just knew we didn't need all of the rack space all the way across. So we thought this would be cool. We can put shoes in here or whatever we feel like. And safe. And so I still have to put some trim around the base and then put that crown molding up. So I'm going to get to that, put the trim there. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. We've got to paint it, and we'll be done. We are getting right to the end. So hopefully I can finish all the building, painting, all that stuff today. It's not even 5 o'clock. This took me about 2 hours, which I think is pretty quick for cutting all of these boards and gluing them together and nailing them and whatnot. It does help to have a nail gun. I did a basic first coat of paint on The closet, I know I missed a few spots. I had the paint can sitting there, so I'll paint that once all the rest of this is done. And then I've got an edge and stuff, but got a basic first coat of paint done, which is where I thought that we would end today, but it's only 6 o'clock. So we are doing really, really well. Way ahead of schedule as far as I'm concerned. We just got done mowing. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. What's up?
Well, some just got done dead.
Yeah. And that is?
He is engaged.
You're engaged? Woo!
Yay!
She said yes?
Marissa was a sobbing mess, too.
And I have you guys to thank for
Were you expecting it?
No.
Woo! So earlier in the video I got a phone call and it was from Chandler because we planned his proposal at the 4th of July celebration while we were sitting there. So his fiance now, Marissa, is in Illinois for an internship. So she's like 8 hours from us, and he had planned to meet up with her in St. Louis, which is kind of halfway, next weekend, but she kind of figured out that he was going to propose then, and I was like, bro, you just got to drive there this weekend and do it, and she'll have no idea because she's expecting it next weekend. And so he did it. So Katie's finishing up the second coat on the closet stuff, and then she's going to start back over and do a third coat. I have all the trim painted for the third coat for there. So as soon as it's dry, I'm going to put it up and sand these down and paint them. But Katie went and bought this stud finder. This is the second one I've had, different model and everything. I told you guys earlier about that Ryobi one because I want to nail this trim where the studs are. And I mean, you guys might be able to help me if I'm doing this wrong, but like I'm holding it and I'm moving slowly, and I scanned this whole wall 3 times and it never one time found a stud. So I don't really know what I'm doing wrong, but neither one of them could find a stud in this whole house, which is crazy to me. So I'm gonna keep it on this and just show you guys. Like, I mean, I've already scanned probably 3 foot, and surely there's a stud in there somewhere. You know, I didn't take this off, but there's gotta be a stud in there, and I just don't understand. And maybe you have to go left. I didn't think it mattered. I'm at a loss for what to do. I mean, I don't want to keep going and buying more stud finders and returning them, because Home Depot is one of those places that will shut you off eventually. And I mean, I bought a lot of stuff, so there's a good chance I'm going to need to return a lot of stuff. And so I don't want to just return a bunch of these. So if you know of one that works on older walls, if that's the problem even, or if I'm just doing something wrong, let me know. I've got 2 of them I can try, different techniques or whatever. Just leave a comment below, because it's really, really frustrating to not be able to find any studs. Katie's taking some Insta pics. Be sure to check it out.
Katie_Lowe4.
Katie_Lowe4. I'll put it on the screen. Go check out her pictures on Instagram. We got 3 coats? 4 coats?
4.
4 coats on all this here. Looking pretty good.
So good.
And I did get the trim up around there. This trim has been painted twice, and I will put another coat on in the morning and then get that up. Got to paint the door frame again, and I got to bolt down my safe, which I've been playing with, figuring it out. So I'm going to get some lag bolts tomorrow from Home Depot, get that bolted down so it can't go anywhere. And yeah, we're getting right down to the end of it. Oh, crown molding. I always forget about that. Super excited to get it all done. Floors look great. Everything's turning out really great. So anyways, happy?
Very.
Good. Well, we are going to end this video right here. A lot of random things happen. Also, congrats to Chandler and Marissa. But be sure to subscribe. Hashtag Forever Ford. So be sure to give it a like for the closet project. If you guys have any questions about this stuff, or if you want to see things like this in more detail, let me know. It's just, it's easier to work when you don't have to film it. And if you guys don't care to see it, I'm obviously not going to film it. But if you want to know how I did stuff like this, I will. I'll film it and make it, you know, more like a tutorial instead of just what we did. So leave a comment below about that stud finder because I have to figure that out. But also about if you'd like to see more detailed things or just, you know, what's going on. So let us know. Be sure to hit subscribe to see when our next video comes out and give this video a like. Thanks for stopping by. See you guys later.